Hey, I'm live. Is anybody here? Can anybody hear me? Nobody yet. Let's see who we can get to come in. Hello, hello, everybody. Or nobody, either one. Let's see if I can text this out to my friends. Okay. Hey, we got two people here. What's up? Look at that. I love it. Oh, so nice. Tell me who's here. Nobody ever wants to, at least in the past. Oh, we're up to 3. Look at this. In the past, we're up to 3. Great. I'm already commenting on myself. How do I copy that? Hello, Tom's here. What's up, Tom? Thank you for coming. Oh, in fact, you know what? We got to write down who's here because we got to give you some participation points. Awesome. We got Angel here. We got Tom. We got Lier. Sweet. Awesome, awesome. If you have any specific questions right now, let me know. I'm going to go ahead and try to, if I can figure this out. Yeah, I think I can. I'm going to try to just text this out to people so more people know what's happening. Oh, it's weird. I can see myself in the video. All right. So these YouTube live sessions are super awkward, just so you know, just because it's just me talking to you and there's not an interaction back and forth. I'm just right now texting out this to my Remind students. So text your questions. What do you want to know? What is going to be on the final? I'll go through and do a breakdown and stuff, but if you have any specific questions right now, a topic you don't understand, something you want me to go over or explain maybe how it might be included in the final. Okay. Cool. Awesome. Maybe we'll get some more people. Oh no, we're down to 1 now. Oh no, people bailing. People are like, oh, Foster? No, I gotta go. I got my credit for coming. Come on in. So who's left actually? That's what I should be asking. I should stop looking down. Look at the camera. Hello. Let's see who's left. Just Tom. All right, Tom, you and me. I'll give you all the answers right now because it's just you and me. So we can just, it's like the first one. Yeah, the test is going to be on Google Form. So thanks for that question. Oh, I'm down to 0 now. So hopefully you're still here. Maybe it's just I'm not seeing who's coming in. It is going to be on a Google Form. Hang on one second. I want to open up my window. It's a little hot in here. It's 30 multiple choice questions. So 30 multiple choice questions. And they cover basically everything that we've gone over. I tried to eliminate the just definition ones, so a lot of them will require you to just apply your knowledge or understanding around a concept. But basically, it's going to be 30 multiple choice questions. You'll do it on the Google form. What I recommend is that you do it separately on a separate sheet of paper, write your answers down, or do it just in a Google Doc that autosaves. My fear is that sometimes students have told me that Google form will like X them out or not allow them to be able to save it, or it as they're trying to submit it, it gets like deleted or something. So Google Forms is not as great with that auto save. Like Google Docs is auto saving all the time. So when you answer the FRQ, let's say you answer your FRQ and then it accidentally closes, or you lose internet, or your Chromebook shuts down, or something like that happens. No worries, because once you're able to get back into that Google Doc, whatever you did, like basically every minute it's saving automatically. So that's why I recommend you do the test like that, because that way your work, the brain effort that you took to answer those questions isn't lost, basically. So what other specific questions do we have? I can go through specific topics if you'd like to do that. I don't know how to share my screen with the live sessions. Let me see. That do anything? No, that just allows me to share it. Yeah, so I don't know yet. I know there is a way, but I Googled it. It was really complicated, and it was like I had to do all these different steps, and I couldn't quite understand it. It's not like as easy with the Google Meet where it's just like share your screen and just present your screen kind of thing. So YouTube's a little bit different, and I'm not hip enough to get that going, basically. But let's go ahead. If you've got questions specifically, ask them. We'll go over each of the topics. I can do that. Let me minimize this so I can be looking at 2 things at once. One time I did do a Kahoot. It didn't work as well. All right. Who's ASNSLY? Tell me who you are because I'm writing names down of people that came to my live session. Let's see. I want to bring this over. Study guide. So why don't I just go over the topics of the multiple choice questions? And okay, George, cool. Is that George Ao? I think that's the only George I have this year. Cool. Awesome. So right now I'm just looking at the topics. Oh, the movie. Good question. The movie you can earn up to. Kat's here. Hey, Kat. What's up? Just writing your name down, giving you credit for coming. Got to give you. Oh, Marissa Flores. Awesome. Yeah, George, I got you. Yeah, thank you. I'm pretty sure. Sometimes I forget though. Awesome. I see Lier is already on the study guide. Very cool idea. Let's all do that actually. So Marissa is here too. Marissa Flores. Cool. And I can stay on live as long as you want me to. If you have more questions, I'm happy to stay on live. I'm happy to help and support you in any way that I can. So why don't I just go through the topics and just give you kind of a general overview. And I don't know the test off top of my head, but I can give you just kind of the general stuff that you need to know about that basically. So Mcculloch V Maryland is the first topic, and that's the case that was the bank case. Mcculloch v. Maryland was the case basically where they established, by they, I shouldn't say they, the United States government established a federal bank in the state of Maryland. Maryland didn't like that. They were basically like, we don't want your bank here. Federal government's like, too bad, we're staying. And so Maryland decided to tax the bank, basically. And then when the federal government or Mcculloch refused to pay the tax, basically what happened is they said, well, we're going to sue you. So Maryland sued Mcculloch, or really sued the federal government, basically. And so there were two questions asked in that case. One, does the U.S. have the authority to establish a bank? And then two, if so, can Maryland tax the bank? Can a state government tax a federal entity or a federal agency, basically? Oh, Audrey's here too. Awesome. Look, we got 11 people. If you're here, let me know. Because let me know your name and stuff. Because I'm writing down who's coming. I'm giving out some, probably just extra credit or maybe participation points for people that are here. So cool. Look at this. 11 people. Oh my gosh. I feel so much love. Yes, Marissa F. I figured because you're my only Marissa. So when I saw Marissa F, I figured. All right. Airsbeth. Awesome. Cool. So if you have specific questions, put those in the chat. And I will answer and address those specifically. But for now, with nobody asking any specific questions, I'm just going to go through those topics. But if you have specific questions, you need me to clarify or anything like that, just let me know because I'm happy to help you. So back to Mcculloch. Basically, yes, the government does have the right to establish a bank. It's not an expressed power. It's an implied power through that necessary and proper clause, which is part of the Constitution that says we can expand our powers, or Congress can expand their powers under those specific ones, those enumerated powers that were listed. So yes, the federal government can establish a bank because even though it's not listed specifically in the Constitution, it's implied through other powers like tax collection, basically, and coining money too. So what about Maryland? Can they tax the bank? No, they were told you cannot because the supremacy clause, because there's part of the Constitution, another part that basically says the Constitution and the federal laws are the supreme law of the land. That means the state government cannot tax the federal government because doing so, the justice who wrote that opinion basically said you could tax them to death, basically, and you could essentially destroy a federal agency by continually taxing them. And they said that that's kind of unfair. Hey, it's Danelle's here, and Michael's here too. Cool. Anybody else that's here, let me know your name that you're here because I'm writing names down. And if we have specific questions, we're just asking those in the chat. So far, no specific questions yet, but oh, I'm so excited to wait for. And Tom, I don't think I answered your question on the movie, how much it's worth. Up to 25, but it has to be a quality reflection, basically. One student asked me, it's like, well, how many sentences? And I don't have an answer for that. But, if you're brief, and hey, Jada's here. What's up? Look at this, 14 people. Nice, and Precious too. Look at this. Precious. Cool. Anybody else here? Let us know. Yeah, each movie, yes, you can, and you can do basically up to 2 to 3. But if you have a lot of other missing work, I'm not going to give you as much credit on the extra credit. I want to see that you're also doing the late work, and those assignments are important too, basically. All right, Alessandra's here, cool. Not me having to out my personal YouTube account. Oh, okay, that's fine. Cool, Alex is here, great. Oh, you finished one. Oh, cool, awesome. So send me what you have. If I think you can do more, I'll let you know, or I'll say this is how many points you can get. And then some students even in the past have said, actually, I could do a better job. Can I resubmit? And always you can resubmit for my class. Always, always. If you want to extend your learning, you want to try harder. I don't believe in you better get it right the first time, otherwise you won't get it. That's such a like flawed, fixed mindset mentality. I can't subscribe to that kind of stuff. We can all grow. So if we have specific questions, look, there's 13 of us in here. That's exciting. If we have specific questions, we're going to put those in the chat, and I can address those specifically if it's like, this topic is on the study guide, and I don't know what this means, or how will this be used, or what context, or whatever that is. I can help you out with those specific questions. So cool. Oh, Trisha's here too. Hey, Trisha, what's up? Look at all this love. Look at all these people who want to master government. So right now, if we have questions, we're putting those specifically in the chat. If we just are here to just kind of absorb and that kinds of stuff, that's cool too. Going good so far. All right, I like that. We're just talking about, I'm just going through, oh, Carolina's here, cool. Cool. Look at all these people in the chat. Again, specific questions, put them in the chat. If you're just here to just kind of absorb and that kinds of stuff, that's cool too. But I'm going through all of the topics from the multiple choice section. So again, Mcculloch was basically the bank case. Does the federal government have the right to establish a bank? Yes, because the implied powers clause, the necessary and proper clause, or implied powers, part of the necessary and proper clause. And then can Maryland tax the bank? The answer is no. So Maryland loses on both those questions. They don't want the bank and they want to be able to tax it, and they basically have to keep the bank and they don't get to tax it. So that's an example of the both necessary and proper clause and the supremacy clause, basically both being upheld. Okay, switched, you guys saw nothing before. I don't know what that means, you'll have to be more specific. Okay, so US v. Lopez, what was that case? That was another case that we learned early on. It is one of our required cases. Remember, Lopez is the one who brought the gun to school. And so it was Congress first, actually, that passed the Gun-Free School Zones Act. Congress is like, we think guns in schools are a problem, so let's go ahead and pass this federal law that regulates guns in schools. Lopez brings a gun to school, and he's busted. He gets busted in the law, and his lawyer basically is like, let's challenge the law. I don't think it's constitutional, actually. Congress doesn't get to regulate guns in the Constitution. They don't regulate schools in the Constitution. So where is this coming from? And it came out of the Commerce Clause. Basically, the Congress said, well, we have the right to regulate commerce, which is basically like business. That part of the Constitution, they've used that and they've expanded a lot of their authority under there. Like the Civil Rights Act of 1964 that we learned about today, that got passed under the Commerce Clause, basically. They said, well, we get to regulate business activity. That also means we can regulate, stores and say that they can't discriminate in their businesses. And we have the authority to do that through the Commerce Clause, basically. So Lopez's lawyer challenged that and basically said, I don't think you do. And the court actually agreed with Lopez. This case is significant because Congress usually was told yes every time they used the Commerce Clause, and the courts would be like, sure, go for it. Yeah, Commerce Clause, yeah, pass the law you want. Go ahead. Expand your powers, keep going. But in Lopez, they finally were like, no, you know what? No, you're done. You done stretched those powers too far, Congress. And so actually, we're going to reject that law and basically tell states if they want to pass gun-free school zones acts, which most states have. And so I had a student one time who was like, does that mean they wanted guns in schools? And I'm like, no. But they just wanted to give that authority back to the states. They wanted to transfer that, that federal power and say, no, actually, this is a state power, and we're going to return this back to you. Regulating schools and regulating guns is up to the states to do. That's why every state has different gun laws. Every state has different education systems and all that kind of stuff. Awesome. Okay. So polls. What do we need to know about polls? Basically that they exist. They're a way that we measure, and we can, political scientists can try to make predictions. Are they 100% accurate? No, they're not. What are some of the things that we look for in a poll? We want to make sure that it's, random questions, random participants in the poll. You want to have carefully selected questions. You want to make sure your poll universe is representative of your population. So it should look like basically, what your society looks like, or what's the attitude of groups you're trying to measure. So if I want to measure all of America, and I need to include women and men, and I need to make sure there's a proportionate sample size of them. Also, I need to include the different races and factor those demographics in, basically, because people have different races, different genders, different ages, different geographic locations. They think differently about different issues. So those are all things that you need to factor in when you're thinking about polls. I don't remember the specific question about polls on the test, so polls are good. We'll say. Ideology. What's ideology? Ideology is basically like, are you a conservative, liberal, or libertarian? What are your core set of beliefs, basically? So for that, I think I asked you specifically about libertarian beliefs. So it is important for us to know what a conservative believes and what a liberal believes, but I think the question on that one is specific to libertarian ideology. So I would research that, and we create a list on that too. You can go back to that assignment that you did on ideology, and the stuff that you listed as like, this is what a libertarian believes, basically. Media. I think the question on media is basically media's function in politics. What is their main? So I would look at the functions of media and use that to answer that question. Like, what does media provide to us? They set the agenda. They're also a watchdog. They help us to understand what's going on. They're a linkage institution too. They link us to government. I know what the president's up to. I know that he was returned home yesterday because of the media, basically. They reported on, hey, he's he's hospitalized. I wouldn't know that otherwise. I wouldn't be linked to government if that wasn't the case. Yeah, Tricia, my stream will be saved. So if you have to leave early or anything like that, it's totally cool. It gets saved on the channel, and I'll also put it out in the Google Classroom too. I'll probably, after the stream's over, I'll send out the link for that. So yes, so if you can't stay the full time, that's okay. Or if you're worried, like, oh, she talks so fast. I know I do. I'm sorry. You can even slow me down. Not during the live streams. I should just slow myself down. I get so excited. Anyways, so media, I would say, understand the functions of media as a linkage institution. That's the key thing that I would say to focus on. Let's see, political parties. They are a way that we organize the governments. So let's remember that political parties are basically these groups, and their main goal is to what? Their main goal is to win elections so that they can influence public policy. So the goal of political parties is to win elections, gain the majority control of Congress, of either house or both houses, and then control the policies that come out, or control the government and how that comes about. Unfortunately, today, we're not going to get another stimulus bill, which is unfortunate because the Fed has actually said we need it. But the Democrats are really far, and Republicans are very far apart on that. And then Trump, I was hopeful that Trump would come in to basically kind of, bring the Republicans up and help the Democrats to kind of just agree to maybe going down a little bit so we could have that compromise. But Trump today said that they should just win the election and then focus on that afterwards. So that's unfortunate because, again, that's support that people could need. He said that he thinks it's just to help Democrats and that kind of stuff. So he's not really working to pass that right now. His focus is the Supreme Court. Political participation. I'm totally forgetting what that question is now that I listed the topic. But political participation, we did a whole unit on it basically, and the different ways that we can participate in elections. We participate. But we can also protest. We can also join interest groups. Lots of different ways that we can be participating in elections. I think that question is kind of like it's a statement about what best reflects the electoral history of the last 50 years. So it's 5 basically statements. 4 are just totally false. And then 1 is an accurate statement of what's happened in the country over the last 50 years as far as like electoral history. Like, for example, I think one of the answer choices, look at me oversharing. I think one of the answer choices is that like we've become less partisan, and that's like total fake news. We've become much more partisan, basically. So if you see that as an answer choice, just know, actually, we haven't become less partisan over the last 50 years. We've become more partisan. And by partisan, I mean we've kind of been going to our own sides, that party polarization where the right is getting more hard right, the left is getting more hard left, and it means less compromise in the middle between the two. Okay, checks and balances. That's how one branch has to be one branch checking, blocking, stopping, or influencing another branch. It's exclusive to the branches of governments. Keep in mind, a lot of students get this question wrong because I give them an answer choice that's like the Supreme Court reversed a lower decision. That's not a check and balance because that's within the judicial branch. When the Supreme Court says this lower court decision, we're going to overturn it, they have that right, but the Congress isn't involved in that decision and the president is involved in that decision. So keep in mind, for an actual check and balance, it has to be one of the 3 branches checking, blocking, or stopping another. Another example is if the president does an executive order on the bureaucracy, that's just affecting the executive branch. It's not going to affect the Congress. It's not going to affect the courts, basically. So keep in mind, if it's within the branch, we don't count it as a check and balance. It has to be these three branches kind of interacting together. Federalism. Okay, federalism is the idea that we have divided powers between the state governments and federal governments, and that we also have concurrent powers that they share. The essay question is on federalism, basically. And you're going to get to make an argument, basically, on your your beliefs on what the founders and how they felt about federalism as it relates to today, basically. Powers of the president. So I've got a awesome. Okay, sorry. Powers of the president. So we should know the basic powers of the president. We should know formal versus informal. Formal meaning that it's in the Constitution. So just off the top of my head, commander-in-chief is a formal power. Receiving ambassadors is a formal power. Appointments, appointing judges and other positions of authority. The pardon power, being able to free people from crimes, for federal crimes at least. That's 4. There should be 8. Well, the faithful execution of the laws, that's where they get the authority for executive orders. Oh, convening Congress. They can gather Congress together. And there's 2. Oh, and treaties. Can negotiate treaties, but remember, does need the Senate for approval. And there's an 8th one that is just escaping me right now. An 8th formal power. Let me pull up my Constitution. Why was this recommended to me on YouTube? I don't know. M.S. Isaac Edie, is that Princess? You don't have to say if you don't want to. This is all optional. But I don't know specifically who you are. I'm just going through the powers of the president, because everybody should learn about the president, right? It's an important thing. Let's see. What did I forget in Article 2? Section 2. Treaties. There we go. Appointments. Yeah. What do I forget? Fill vacancies. Maybe I didn't forget one. Maybe I didn't name them all. I feel like I did, though. Oh, State of the Union. Has to provide a State of the Union. That's right. And then convening Congress is part of that power. So MS Isaac Edie, I don't know who you are specifically, unless I do have a Princess Edie. But you don't have to stay if you don't want to. But if you have questions about government, we're here to help you with that. Okay. Okay. No worries, MS Isaac Edie. If you don't want to be here anymore, that's okay. This is cool. What was Shays' Rebellion? Let's learn about that. What was Shays' Rebellion? Let's remember that the Articles of Confederation were just total trash. Just a bad way to run government. Very weak, very ineffectual, weak central government, no other 2 branches of government, and basically nothing else is happening. So Shays' Rebellion was a catalyst. It showed us that we needed a strong central government to put down rebellions, to build a military that's actually effectual, basically. So Shays' Rebellion was a catalyst that led to the creation of the Constitution. Let's remember the Federalist Papers were those specific documents. There's 85 of them, 4 of which we need to know, but specific documents advocating for the Constitution and arguing and explaining the rationale behind the decisions in the Constitution, basically. So we have like 85 of them. Like I said, we could focus on 4. Federalist number 10 is all about factions. Like factions are a problem and how do we control them? And James Madison basically defines factions. And then he basically goes on to say, well, you could just remove them, but then you'd remove liberty, and that's no good. So what you can do? Well, you have to control the effects. So you control it with democracy or republic, and it can be large or small. He basically says democracy is bad, just a pure democracy, because then the mob has rule, basically. And minority rights aren't protected. So basically, he says republic is better, elect representatives who can then still protect minority rights and protect from just mob rule and majority rule. But he also says not a small republic, a large republic spread out over a vast area. Because that way, if somebody starts to be, act up to business in like one area of the country, and I think about, no, you're fine. Don't worry about it. MS Isaac, I'm sorry that you joined us. No worries. Basically, when I think about the civil rights movement, and basically the efforts of African Americans especially to fight for their rights in the South and their equality in the South, what actually changed things was what other people saw outside of the South. People in the South knew what was going on. It was a kind of an accepted way of life. And it was just like, well, this is how it works around here, and like get used to it kind of thing. It took people in other states to finally see what was going on, and they had it on the TV and stuff like that to see, wait a minute. People are being treated terribly. They don't have voting rights. They have this terrible segregation. They're being lynched. They're being beaten, all because they just want equality. And so when I think about that movement, I think about Madison in Fed 10, and I think that's what he was talking about in Fed 10. He was saying, look, if we see a problem happening, of course, it took a long time for us to address that problem. But when we see a problem happening and we see rights are being abused, that we in the other parts of this larger public aren't going to stand for that for too long. And so eventually that's why the federal government had to come in to ensure that those civil rights were actually protected. Fed 51 is all about checks and balances and separation of powers, basically. So it's just Madison justifying the need for separation of powers and why checks and balances are going to be a supportive system, basically, and prevent, allow ambition to counteract ambition. Fed 70 is all about Hamilton saying that we should just have one president for purposes of accountability, but then also in an emergency, it's important because we don't want two people fighting, and we don't know who to blame if there's any problems or anything like that. Federal grants. So what about that? We should know that federal grants are money given by the federal government to the states, and we should know the difference between categorical and block grants. So just between categorical and block grants. The categorical grants are the specific funding that has detailed lists of where it can be spent and how it can be spent. The block grant, the states don't like the categorical grants. Excuse me. They would prefer the block grants because they basically are allowed to spend the money how they like to. So block grants are just like, here's a big chunk of money for education, or here's a big bit of money for transportation. You decide. A categorical grant would be like, this is the bridge you're going to build, and this is who's going to build it, and this is how it needs to be done, and this materials and all this kind of stuff, basically. So states, they like money. Everybody likes money, but they don't like categorical grants because it's just puts more handcuffs on them, basically. Okay, congressional districts. I think I have a question around gerrymandering with that, basically. So go ahead and research gerrymandering because it's sort of related to that concept of how the districts are drawn by political parties in order to basically make the elections less competitive and basically safer for those incumbents. So part of the reason we have party polarization is because of these gerrymandered districts, basically. People are allowed to be not compromising, and people are allowed to kind of take political risks that maybe they wouldn't in a competitive district. But because they feel safe, they feel like, okay, we can just stay in our corner and we can just keep with our polarization, basically. Interest groups. I don't remember specifically how interest groups come up on the test, but just know they're those groups of people that they're trying to influence public policy. They can endorse candidates. They also do fundraising, and they also form political action committees as well. Campaign finance, basically just reviewing that lecture on the reforms and the changes. Remember that I told you that money always finds a way, basically, but that we have made attempts to reform campaign finance, but through Supreme Court decisions and other just different, they tried to with laws, but the Supreme Court decision, Citizens United, basically said that you couldn't restrict that because it was like the First Amendment protected that. Okay, bureaucracy. That's that big group of people that help the president enforce the laws. I think there's 2 questions on bureaucracy on this test. I think I asked you one on rulemaking, which is basically when they go in and they write more specific details around the laws. And I forget what the other one is, but I know there's 2 questions on the bureaucracy. So make sure you review those lectures. And if you have any specific questions, again, now's the time. Put them in the chat. Okay. So, I'm getting all kinds of new subscribers. Look at this. This is nice. Okay. 14th Amendment. Oh, this is so important. I love the 14th Amendment. It is what does the 14th Amendment provide? Citizenship. If you're born here, you're a citizen. Case closed. Due process for the states. Basically, states, you got to follow the Bill of Rights and you got to give your people fair legal processes. And then also equal protection that we've been talking about recently, that the states have to equally protect everyone, basically. And you can't have different laws for different races, different laws for different genders, different laws for different sexual orientations. 14th Amendment basically says that can't happen. 15th Amendment is basically the right to vote cannot be denied based on race. And the 15th Amendment, I think also what we need to know about it is that what I talked about today, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, that was legislation to enforce the 15th Amendment. That was legislation passed because the South was not respecting the 15th Amendment. So even though, again, these amendments are words on paper, the actual enforcement of it has to be done by Congress, has to be done by law enforcement, basically. 19th Amendment, that's what gave women the right to vote. So universal suffrage now, women also have the right to vote. Yay, 19th Amendment, I like that. One year for Halloween, I dressed up as a suffragette. That was fun. Let's see. House of Representatives. Yeah, that's a big topic. I think I have a comparison question about the House and the Senate as far as like how business is done, if I remember specifically. What we should remember is that in the House, there are a lot more rules and it's a lot more formal and structured, the debate. In the Senate, not as much. That's why in the Senate, they can filibuster, they can get away with just, talking a bill to death, that kind of thing. I do have a question from a letter from a Birmingham jail there. I don't remember specifically what it's about though, but luckily we just read that, and so you should be able to answer that question. I think I just ask you what parts. I think I asked you what part of the Constitution relates to what Dr. King is arguing in that letter. Okay, those are the topics for the multiple choice. Again, those are just broad overviewing topics, but I just kind of went through the tests and I figured out kind of what are the general topics for those. For the FRQ, the concept application is basically just, I'm going to give you a scenario. It's not long, it's like a paragraph, and then you'll read the scenario, and then you need to answer questions related to specifically that scenario. So I'll give you a scenario, and I think the first question is, what can Congress do, or what power does Congress have to address this issue, basically? So you'll have to identify that power, and then explain that power, and then also connect it to the scenario. Concept application, you only need a couple sentences per response, but make sure the more is always the better, but always make sure you're connecting it back to the scenario. Also, always make sure that you're answering the question that you're being asked. Too often do I ask a student, what can Congress do about this? And they'll say, well, the courts can rule this unconstitutional. And I'm like, I didn't ask you about the courts. They can, you're right. But I asked you about Congress. So be specific in your answers and know what you're being asked, and use those sentence frames to kind of reframe your question kind of thing. But I'll be available, tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, whenever your final is, that I'll be able to answer any other specific questions if you have them as they come. Yeah, so basically you're going to describe a political institution or behavior, you're going to explain how your response affects that behavior and relates to that scenario, and then also how the scenario relates to another political institution. Okay, so argument essay. You'll be presented with a question prompt about federalism. The key for the argumentative essay is knowing that there's two paths you can take, but you got to take a path. You cannot say, well, both are true, right? Don't be cute like that. I know you, I see you. Don't be cute like that, because that's going to just get you not to get a passing grade on that part of the final, basically. If you try to say, well, both sides are true, or I agree with both sides, that's not an argumentative essay. So you have to, and if you're kind of like mixed, okay, well then choose the side that's going to be your best argument. What can you provide the most evidence for? What can you explain the most? Because the essay that I'm going to assign you has actually been done before, and basically, I got the chance to read this essay, and so I saw all the different perspectives on it before, and saw how students argued it, and it was really cool to see that kind of thing. That some students said, "No, this is the answer," and other students said, "No, this is the answer," actually. And it wasn't about which side you chose. What mattered is, did you have a thesis? So I believe that, or don't do I believe, sorry, I shouldn't say that. This is true because this, and this, or this is accurate because, or this is the right way to interpret this because, and then make sure you have that line of reasoning. Then basically you'll have two arguments you need to make, basically. So two evidence pieces that you'll use to defend your argument. One of those evidence pieces has to be one of the foundational documents. So Articles of Confederation is one of them. That was the form of government before the Constitution. So state sovereignty, basically, that the states were sovereign, that they had control over their own territories. Federalist 10, I just talked about. Factions, basically. Factions are the problem. A large republic is the solution. And then Brutus 1 was basically arguing against the Constitution and the dangers of such a Constitution, basically. So one of your evidence pieces has to be one of those documents. But the other one could be another one of the documents, or it could be something like another document that we learned about. So let's say you're like, I want to pull this thing from the Constitution. Cool. Anything that you, basically the test has said, anything you've learned inside the class is game. It's fair game, basically. It's nice if it's a document or a Supreme Court case. Those are just more solid. But you could say, oh, we learned about this instance in class. Let's say you were saying, talking about, the presidents refusing to enforce Supreme Court decisions. You could then talk about Jackson and say, look, this happened before. Andrew Jackson did this and ignored the Supreme Court decision. This is part of the reason why it supports my argument, basically. Brutus 1, again, is just that anti-federalist paper. So basically arguing against the Constitution. So you got to have a thesis. You got to have two arguments basically with evidence to support. One of the evidence pieces has to be a document. The other can be another document, can be something outside of the class. You got to have reasoning to explain why the evidence supports your argument, basically. If I don't see the reasoning there, then you won't get full credit on the essay. So keep that in mind. The last piece, oh, Levin's here. Hey, Levin, welcome. The last piece is basically the idea that you have to then acknowledge that there are other arguments and then either concede or refute those arguments or rebut those arguments, basically. So, the best way to start this, and I read this so many times, while some people argue this, others will say this, basically. And they say this because this, and this. And then what do you need to do? The last piece you need to do to get the point on that question is basically to go, those people are right because this, or those people are wrong because this. So just provide an alternative perspective. So argue the other side, but then say why they're wrong or why they're right, basically. Either one is totally fine. It's just up to you and what you really believe or what you can argue the best, basically. That's what I'd say is the most important. So that's me just going over the study guide. One thing that I thought could be fun for our live session, so let me know if you want me to do this. Would you like a wrap right now because you're here? Because I still have 2 in the chamber. I'm going to save one for our review session, but I figured I could do one right now since I didn't get a chance to do it today in class. So do we want to wrap? And then if so, do you want to wrap on iron triangles or do you want to wrap on, what's the other one about? Oh, the other one is about like selective incorporation and civil liberties, I would say. So do you want to wrap? Yes or no? And then what's the topic that you want to do? I could do either right now. I have these pretty well, I haven't practiced yet, but I have these pretty well memorized. Plus, if I mess up, you'll always forgive me. You're kind people. Yes, definitely. Sure. Cool. What wrap do you want? Do you want the iron triangle wrap? By that, I should say, do you want me to wrap to Bruno Mars or Drake? That's really what I'm doing. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. There's demand for the wrap. That's cool. Do we want the Bruno iron triangle? Okay. That's one vote. And let me pull that up. Give me 1 second. I see one vote for Iron Triangle. That's cool. That's the Bruno Mars song. And then I'll have to pull it up and I'll have to read it as I'm going through. And I should share it in Google Classroom actually too. So let me do that. Questions, put them in the chat if you have other questions too. But you're here right now. You deserve a wrap, I think. And I wish I could display the lyrics, but what I'll do is I'll just share it in a Google Classroom right now. So I think we're going with the Iron Triangle. One vote, it counts. If you don't vote, you don't get a voice. So we'll go with the Iron Triangle song. That's called "That's What I Like." And no creative title on that one. I just take that song and do that. And then let me go ahead and share this with. I'll just do it in the Google Classroom so everyone can have access to this. Okay. And then bear with me because I do have to sing a little bit in this one, and I'm not the best singer, so just know it's not the best. Here is a copy. Wrap. In the YouTube Live. Sorry, I know this is terribly boring for all of you, but just get excited. Oh my God, I get my glasses, got to get my Constitution chain. So we're not ready yet. But okay, there we go. That's what I like. Insert. That way, if you guys want to, I'm posting this directly in Google Classroom right now. You can actually access the lyrics and follow along with me, which is kind of cool. Let's minimize this. It's a little too big for me. Sorry, folks. Give me just a second. I'll get my stuff together. Okay, sweet. Okay, cool. Okay. Nope, don't want that YouTube. I want this YouTube. Hello. She is about to wrap. Marius, you made it just in time. Look at you. That's amazing. Marius, I'm going to write your name down. Anybody else that just came into the room, let me know your name that you're here because I'm giving credit for everyone that's showing up, basically. And Marius, the good thing is that this will get saved to my YouTube channel so you can watch the other stuff that you missed before. I basically kind of just went through all of the nope, I don't need those glasses. I basically just went through all of the stuff, the topics, and kind of stuff that, the Mesh is here too. Hi, the Mesh. How you doing? Yeah, anybody else, if you're here, let me know. because you deserve some credit for being here, and I appreciate it. Look at this, 17 people. I think that might be a record for me. Okay, where's my Constitution chain? Got it here. Cool. Hopefully you guys can access in Google Classroom now. I have it shared with you, the rap. This rap is called That's What I Like by Incumbency. And this one, you know, so how I write these raps is basically like, it's usually a song that I like already. And then basically I just kind of hear something in it. And then I go, oh, I could do a rap about that. Once I can find the topic, then it's usually pretty easy. Oh, cool. Oh, no, you're good, Marius. You're cool. I'm glad you've been here. Thank you. And Ernesto's here. Cool. Look at this, love. Love all you people. Can I just say you guys are all just amazing people? I can't, like, going through this distance learning has been really hard for me, but every time I feel like it's hard, I'm like, you're the adults. It's not as hard as it is for someone. I can't imagine trying to learn in this type of environment. So I just appreciate all of you for just coming to class and asking your questions and just being a support and that kind of stuff. So how I write these raps is kind of like, it's a song that usually I like, that I hear over and over again. And then the one bad thing about it is that then it ruins the song for me, that I can only hear my rap version at all. But that's okay. It's worth it. That's what I like. And I heard this one and I was like, oh my gosh, this is just like Congress, the Iron Triangle and everything like that. So maybe not, but I'll say it. Say it so. I don't think I like that one as much. I think this one I like. Yeah. That's the one. Okay. So, and I'll scroll along. Yeah, cool. How I can scroll along here. Awesome. Cool. So this should be shared with you in Google Classroom, so you can follow along the rap with me if you want to, or check it out later. Basically, I'm talking, the rap is all about a member of Congress who's talking to a lobbyist and basically saying, you know, like, I'm here for you, lobbyists. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you get those laws passed that you want. Just help me out too. Give me some campaign donations and stuff like that. Show me some of that love. Okay. So I'm talking too much. I'm filibustering. Look at that. Okay, let's go. I got a district in Manhattan. Lobbyists, what's happening? Union pack invited. So go and get to talking. Go drop your plan for me. Drop it for me. Turn around and shop it for a vote. Talk it to me. I log roll with committee and mark up for my city. Pork barrel for dinner. Lobbyist, serve it to me. You got it if you want it. Got it if you want it. Said you got it if you want it. Take my vote if you want it. Now jump in the triangle. Now let's put some iron on it. And anything you want, just to put a sign on it. You deserve it, lobby. You deserve that law. And I'm gonna give it to you. Pack money shining so bright. Campaign donation sounds nice. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. And I will co-sponsor tonight. Your bill will not face a fight. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Lucky for you, that's what I like. I'm talking trips to Puerto Rico and say the word and we go. You can be my reason. I won't be caught for treason, cause I will never make a promise that I can't keep. I promise that your smiles are never gonna leave. Revolving doors are open. Everything should start flowing. Take a look in that mirror. Now tell me who's the winner. Is it you? Is it me? Say it's us. And I'll agree, lobby. Jump in the triangle. Now let's put some iron on it. And anything you want, just to put a sign on it. You deserve it, lobby. You deserve that law. And I'm gonna give it to you. Pack money shining so bright. Campaign donation sounds nice. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. And I will end those regs tonight. Those regulations aren't right. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Lucky for you, that's what I like. You say you want a new law. Well, here I am, lobby. Here I am, lobby. Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. Tell me what's on your mind. If you want it, Just come and get it. Congress is here for you. Tell me, lobby, tell me, lobby, what you're trying to do. Pack money shining so bright. Campaign donations sounds nice. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. And I will co-sponsor tonight. Your bill will not face a fight. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Lucky for you, that's what I like. All right. I saw some stuff going on in the chat. Oh, look at you people. It's even better the second. Did I do this one? Did I already do this song for you people? I thought I didn't. Oh man, that's funny if I did. Awesome. Look at this. Got some love up. That was great. What do you like? Yeah. Oh, Rovik's here. Hey, Rovik, what's up? Hey, thanks for being here. Yeah, anybody else here? Tell me who you are, that you're here. All right, look at that. Yeah, I already got, yeah, cool. All right. So, I do have another wrap that's coming, and it's going to come on when we do the review session. So first period, you get a wrap tomorrow. Third period, you get it on Thursday. Fifth period, you get it on Friday, basically. So, oh, good. New favorite song. Yeah, this song was pretty easy to write for because he says baby all the time. And I was like, lobby, baby, we're good. And it just writes itself, basically. So this one was a fun one to write. I do, I have to pick a song that I like because it seems easy for me to just sing it now, but I have to practice over and over and over again. It's hard when you just have the auditory track. So I have to learn like the cadence and the stops and the beats and all that kinds of stuff. But post your music. It's all on YouTube. You can check my channel out. I think I posted all my songs and stuff like that. So this is my channel, and feel free to check what's here. I even have a breakdown of like the whole, I realized too, I should post this. I did a whole breakdown. It's not units 4 and 5, but I can even do that. Maybe we could do that tomorrow or maybe today. But basically it's a whole breakdown of just everything in that massive like Google Slides to prepare, but it's like super long. So I don't know if Jonathan Wynn, I don't know Jonathan Wynn. And Brazil. Oh, gotcha. It was so good. Post your music. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Spotify, Apple Music account. Yeah, but all my stuff's copyrighted. So even Google, it's really funny. When I put my raps on Google, they're like, you can't make money off of it. They're like, we won't take your stuff down, but basically all the rights go to like Google is on top of their stuff or YouTube's on top of their stuff. They'll be like copyright claim. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm trying to make money on YouTube. I've got a job. So I'm not thinking that this would be my, main income source basically. So I really don't care to have, if I have copyright violations, I'm just glad they're not kicking me off YouTube, basically. So I don't think it would work for me to have a Spotify account because I think they would just say, wait a minute, you're taking other people's music, which I absolutely am. But for educational purposes, the Constitution said it, but the courts have basically said it's okay as long as for education, right? I'm not making money off it. But the second I tried to charge you guys for my rap performances, that's when I get in trouble. So we won't charge you. I don't have anything else for you today. But if you have specific questions on the test, let me know. I'll stick around for a few more minutes. But, I would just say the most important thing would be getting your late work done because that's going to bring up your grade if you've got any late work assignments. And then just try your best on this. And then I'll be available all day when you take your final to ask questions to support you. So don't worry if there's like a question we don't understand or something like that. I can't give you the answer, but I can give you, a lot of information to help you guide you in the right direction. Oh, Claudine's here. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, Bruno would definitely approve, don't you think? I think if any of you guys know Bruno, just like hook me up, all right? And just like we'll have a little chat with them. I think it'd be funny to actually have a conversation with one of the people that I rap about. Just be like, hey, Czechoslovakia approved. Okay, good. Whoa, please rap more. I don't know you, Jonathan Wynn. I don't know why people are getting recommended to my channel. It's like got no subscribers. I think it's less than 100, but cool, you're here. Cool. Any live session. We will get you that deal. Thank you, Marius. I appreciate that. Yeah, just hit up your friend Bruno and just be like, hey, what's up? I know you're busy right now. He can't be busy right now. It's a pandemic. What's he doing? Not performing. Please rap again. Kyle Yee, I don't know who you are, Kyle Yee. I'm going to save my last rap, though. I've got to save that. I've got to keep that in the chamber, basically. That's how I get students. Yeah, I totally do a rap battle. Miss Rossi, she pulled me aside one day and I really got freaked out because I was like, oh, am I in trouble or something? Which is like, it's a colleague. I shouldn't think that. But she was like, Miss Foster, we need to have a conversation. I'm like, uh-oh, what did I do? And then I was like, what's up, Miss Rossi? How you doing? And she's like, I heard that you rap to your students. And I'm like, yeah, correct. She's like, and that they really love that. And I was like, yeah, they seem to. And she said, so we should do a rap battle then, because I want to get in on this. And I was like, let's go, Rossi. But we never ever actually made it happen. But it was really funny because I was like, am I in trouble? And then she's like, no, you're doing good things. So I was like, okay, cool. Thank you, Miss Rossi. Cool, cool. All right. Can this be a daily thing like during the Zoom? Just like during Zoom, like daily raps. I don't have enough raps for daily. I do have some econ raps though that we can do. I have one. I have another Drake one. Drake's a great easy song to rap to. I have Drake, and it's basically what's the song? Oh, I can't even think of it right now. What's the one? She said, "Do you love me?" I tell her only partly. That song, God's Plan. That's what it's called. God's Plan. Yes, there are econ raps too. So make sure you come, Marius. And it's Drake. Yeah, actually, for the Drake one, I had a student that was a big fan of Drake. And he was like, Miss Foster, you need to rap to Drake every single day. He'd be like, you need to do a Drake song. You need a Drake song. And it's God's Plan. He's like, God's Plan. It's an amazing song. God's Plan. It's when the song just came out. And I'm like, bro, don't give me suggestions. Write your own rap, basically. And then I ended up writing the rap for him, hoping that he would perform it. And then he totally chickened out. So then I didn't even end up doing it that year because I hadn't practiced it. So it was just kind of a motivation thing because he kind of had some senioritis and stuff like that. Unfortunately, he bailed, but then I took it and I made it my own. Okay. Oh, Tori's here. Hi, Tori. Welcome. Look at this. We've got 22 people here. This is awesome. So I'll stick around for a few more minutes. Yeah, Rovik, you want to do a duet? That's another thing, too. If you want to perform your own rap, record it and share it with us, or do it even live in class, which is intimidating to do it live. I'm definitely supportive of that. And I would definitely give you extra credit for doing such a thing. Or sometimes it can be difficult to write the rap too. So to be honest, I wrote 2 raps for my fantasy football league, basically. I wrote a fantasy football league rap. What was the first one? I forget what that song was. I'm already forgetting it. This is terrible. I did another one where it was like fancy, but I did champy because I won the league. So at the beginning of our league this year, I did the song like, I'm so champy. You already know I'm in the first place on that white buffalo, which is the name of our trophy. So that made sense. We should play Among Us together. How good of a liar are you? Oh, is this the I'm not a good liar at all. I'm so sorry. I'm terrible. I mean, I'm not sorry about that because it's not a skill that I need to improve upon. I am doing well. Marius, thank you for the question. I appreciate it. I'm 3-1, but Marius, I just lost Austin Eckler yesterday. So I've been grieving that loss because Austin Eckler was my 2nd round pick and he just went down hard and he couldn't put weight on his leg. And I'm pretty sure you need both legs to play football. I don't know, you would know better, Marius. But so that was sad, but it happens, it's part of football. It's one of the most brutal sports ever. So it's kind of the war of attrition, fantasy football. So that I'm doing well. I'm 3-1. I just survived. I had also Calvin Ridley last night and he just put up a goose egg, but luckily I had the win anyway. So we're okay. Oh, Michael Thomas is coming back. Oh, Saquon. Oh yeah. Sorry about Saquon, Marius. That's unfortunate. How'd you draft both Michael Thomas and Saquon? That's nice. But yeah, I know. But my friend who drafted Saquon is 0-4 this year, and she's just given up. She's like, I'm over it. I was like, oh no. That's funny. Michael Thomas is coming back though. He's going to be fine. He'll be. I think he should be okay. He might have a little rough start, but he'll be fine for the most part. I think you're okay on that one. How do you know Among Us? I played Among Us with my advisory class, so I did play it, but I was the worst. I was the imposter. And I sucked. I shouldn't say sucked. I don't like that word. I was bad. And so someone saw me venting, and I didn't even know what venting was. I'm just learning this stuff. And then I was the person who wasn't the imposter. And everyone voted me the first time. It was like one round of voting. We're like, it's Foster. Yay. And then the other time I got killed right away. So I'm not good with video games, to be honest. So I did it with my advisory class just as kind of like a fun engagement thing. But yeah, that's not for me. I love that you guys find little ways to communicate with each other and that kind of stuff, though. What favoritism? I don't know what you mean by favoritism. Oh, because I played it with my advisor class? That's because I don't have to AP stuff. That's different. If that's what you're referring to. We could do it in my class if we have time. We just never have time. We're always go. Maybe during econ we could have some time because we will slow it down a little bit. Econ was always intended to be a semester class, so we can do it within the quarter. Much easier than for government. It's really meant to be a year-long class. And the expectation on students, you really need a full year to actually dive deep and actually understand this stuff. Sure. Grova can wear the incredible again. Who is Jonathan Wen? Because I don't know you as a student. Identify yourself. And it's just so I can write your name down and give you credit for being here today. Because you might be logged in as something else. Yeah, I don't have anything else for y'all. So specific questions, put them in the chat. If you're good to go, you can take off. I'll stick around for, let's say, like 3 more minutes if you have specific questions. And other than that, I just do appreciate all of you for being here. I appreciate all of you for just making the efforts and trying to stick along with me as we go on this warp speed train for, oh, no more rapping. No, you're gonna have to wait till my class on when your period is. I'll pause on the raps for now. I'm just here for extra credit. Cool, Jonathan, but who are you? What's your student name? Cool, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Marius. I'll see you tomorrow. You'll get another rap tomorrow in the morning. Tori, I got your name down. Yeah, you're good to go, Tori. But your rapping is amazing. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. You're not, I don't know if you're one of my students. I've had this happen before where people get fed to my live streams. And I even had previous students. I even had a previous student. Yeah, why not, Tori? Did you want extra credit? I figured so. You're here. So, oh, thank you, Kyle Yee. Also don't know you, but I appreciate that. If you're interested in my other raps, I know that they are on YouTube. So you don't get them live, but you can watch them recorded. I recorded a bunch of them when we're like in that heavy quarantine. All right, bye the mesh. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Any other questions? I'll stick around for a few more minutes. Claudine can rap too. Who's Kyle Yee? Just so I know so I can write your name down. If you're one of my students. If you're not one of my students, then you don't much care. Thank you for your time, Mrs. Foster. Also love your rap. Oh, that's sweet. Awesome. Thank you all. I appreciate all of you. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I thought that might be a fun thing to do. Just get a little rap game in. Awesome. All right, cool. Well, I don't think that anybody else has anything specific. I appreciate and keep the rap on. We'll definitely do that. Thank you all for coming. I really do appreciate it. If you have specific questions, don't hesitate. Send me an email. I'll also be available to you during the pre-session when we log into our classroom and we have the Google Meet. But then also I'll be available all day if you want to leave and come back in or stay in there the whole time. You have that right, basically. You have that opportunity for yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and say ta-ta for now. But Tom, okay, so okay, that's Tom. Awesome. Okay, Tom, I did get your name down, so you're good to go. Awesome. All right. So appreciate all of you. You're all great people, and thank you so much for coming. And yeah, check out the raps. I've got other review stuff on this channel too that you can check out. Anything specific that you need, just let me know. But you are all great people. Keep doing great things. Keep pushing harder, and we will be it's covering econ next week. It's crazy, but we're all done with government. We get to just kind of test our knowledge, check for understanding, get some more practice with the essays, and then we'll be done. So cheers to everyone. Thank you all for being here. Thank you. And if you have specific questions, do not hesitate to send me an email. You can email me any time of day. I'm always here for all of you. All right, I'm hitting end the stream, but I'll end it how I always should. Keep calm and Viking on. All right, guys, have a good day. Oh, wait, am I sure I want to end it? Yes, end it. Have a good day, guys.